Nothing has shaken public opinion more today than the fact that just minutes after landing in Los Angeles, Jungkook was seen hurriedly taking Taehyung to the hospital. The inevitable question arises: what exactly happened during the flight? And why was there not a single staff member accompanying them when this emergency took place? The incident occurred just about 30 minutes after their plane touched down. Footage from fans showed Jungkook's tense face as he held Taehyung's body, which looked pale and weak. In one camera shot, a faint red stain on a tissue clutched tightly by Jungkook was clearly visible, an early sign that something had happened in the cabin, something not meant to be made public. Their departure to LA was not widely covered. There was no official welcome, no institutional escort as usual, and not even a recorded public agenda for these two big names. But now, the world's attention has completely shifted. Not because of their schedule, but because of an incident that unfolded so quickly, so unexpectedly, and too seriously to ignore. Taehyung, who has long been known for taking strict care of his health, suddenly getting a nosebleed mid-flight? Was it cabin pressure? Or is there another factor that's been hidden all along? The fact that Jungkook himself took emergency action without management's escort raises suspicions that whatever happened was deliberately kept from anyone beyond the two of them. Speculation flooded social media. Some fans claimed Taehyung's nosebleed wasn't an ordinary event. They linked it to high stress, extreme fatigue, or even internal issues that had long been hidden. Yet others suspected the situation had been predicted in advance. The strongest evidence? Jungkook's decision to take Taehyung straight to the nearest medical facility, as if he already knew this could happen at any time. Some also questioned why there was no statement or direct involvement from airport security or on-site medical personnel. Was Jungkook acting outside protocol? And if so, why did he have to take over a situation that should have been handled by professionals? This wasn't just a concerned friend. This was a concrete move from someone who seemed to know something deeper than what was visible. It should be noted that this isn't the first time Taehyung has shown signs of physical instability, but it's rare for him to be in a condition requiring such immediate medical action, and even more rare without the involvement of management, which usually controls every one of their movements strictly. Jungkook, who's always known to be highly private and disciplined about excessive exposure, instead appeared in this highly sensitive moment with openness. He didn't avoid the cameras, didn't try to hide his expression, and didn't change paths to avoid the crowd, as if he wanted the public to see something. Or further, he wanted the public to question something. Did their internal pressure so overwhelming that it has physically and mentally crushed them? Is this only about health? Or is there a psychological burden that has never been reported? Why LA? Why no security? And why, in such a critical situation, do they both seem to be acting outside the control of any formal structure? The most striking suspicion stems from the fact that Jungkook and Taehyung's interactions have recently appeared increasingly intense and personal. Many believe that their communication no longer involves the official team. They move, speak, and even travel in ways that increasingly diverge from the typical behavior of South Korean idols. This strengthens the possibility that the decision to bring Taehyung to the hospital wasn't just a spontaneous reaction, but part of a plan thought out well in advance. Many also question why there wasn't a single institutional representative with them on this trip. Was there a restriction from certain parties? Or did they intentionally bypass protocol as a silent act of resistance against something unknown to the public? If Jungkook truly knew of the health risk threatening Taehyung, then flying to LA without medical support was either a bold gamble or a desperate one. Even more shocking, some visual sources from the airport show an unusual expression on Taehyung's face from the moment he exited the plane. His gaze was empty, his steps heavy, and not a single word was spoken. He only followed Jungkook, who seemed to be fully in control of the entire situation. Isn't that too strange for two idols usually so structured in every move? Another fact that worsens the situation is the silence of all official channels. No explanations, no clarifications, not even the usual requests for privacy. The public is left to rely on fan cam videos, crowd audio clips, and facial expression analysis that can never serve as concrete evidence. Is this part of an effort to conceal something bigger? This situation has divided fan opinions worldwide. Some view it as a regular medical incident blown out of proportion by social media. But others, with visual evidence and unusual movement patterns, believe this isn't just a nosebleed. This is about a failed system, about invisible pressure, and about a friend refusing to follow protocol when the person closest to him was in crisis. So far, Taehyung's condition remains uncertain. But Jungkook's decision to act quickly and take full control of the situation reveals that there's a dynamic far more complex than what appears on the surface. An action too emotional to be called professional, but too calculated to be called coincidence. The biggest question is, were they really hiding? And why did this kind of incident occur overseas, far from the direct oversight of the institution that has long strictly managed their lives? Is this a medical coincidence, or is there a darker narrative being crafted behind the scenes? As the world waits for answers, one undeniable fact remains. Jungkook is no longer behaving like a member of the system. He's acting like someone risking everything, for someone who may have stayed too long under unseen pressure. And when a decision is made just 30 minutes after landing, the world begins to realize that something much more serious is going on. Something that may never be fully uncovered, but has left enough trace to raise questions that can no longer be ignored. But amid all the visual chaos and narratives surrounding this event, a fundamental question arises that must not be ignored. Did this incident really happen as it appeared, or is there a hidden scenario being played out behind the scenes of the global entertainment industry? This question is not merely an expression of doubt, but a call for critical thinking in the midst of a flood of information that is rapid and not always reliable. The public, overwhelmed by video snippets, speculation, and emotional narratives from platforms like TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter, often falls into a pattern of consuming information that is no longer based on verification but solely on sensational appeal. Have we, as viewers, become victims of a narrative deliberately built to steer opinion? Or is it true that Jungkook took Taehyung to the hospital in critical condition just 30 minutes after landing in LA without institutional intervention or official escort? Why did the entire series of events unfold in a space most vulnerable to public scrutiny, yet produce not a single piece of official documentation or institutional statement? On one hand, visual footage and witness accounts from fans present a strong picture of an urgent situation. Jungkook's tense expression, hurried movements, and Taehyung's seemingly unstable posture show signs that this event is real, urgent, and unplanned. But on the other hand, we cannot ignore the possibility that this entire sequence was orchestrated with a specific purpose. A crisis narrative has always been an effective tool to attract global attention, and in a world where popularity is measured by clicks, views, and viral reach, crisis can become a commodity. So further questions arise. If this is real, why is there not a single piece of verifiable medical evidence from a third party? Why is all circulating information coming only from informal channels, with no clear institutional references? Is this merely a consequence of maintaining privacy, or is it a deliberate tactic to create narrative tension that benefits publicity? It's important to note that all information we currently receive, whether videos, image clips, or written narratives, originates from social media, which fundamentally does not adhere to journalistic standards of accountability. TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and community forums have become the main battlegrounds for spreading this issue. But does dissemination through these media reflect objective facts? Or does it instead show how public opinion can be manipulated through emotional visual presentation? If the public accepts that Taehyung had a nosebleed and was taken to the hospital by Jungkook, then we must also ask, what is the basis for that belief? Is it because of the worried expression seen? Or because of narratives neatly arranged by powerful fanbase accounts? In the digital age, not everything visible reflects truth. Many are arranged, edited, manipulated to create a certain perception. And what if this entire incident is just part of a targeted marketing strategy? Some argue that situations like this can indeed be used to shape global opinion, evoke empathy, and set the stage for a specific project. Hasn't the entertainment industry repeatedly shown how crises, whether real or fabricated, are used to massively increase visibility? If it's true this is staged, then the public has become the subject of a large-scale social experiment. So, we must ask deeper questions. Is our sympathy being exploited? Has our collective trust in public figures become a tool for specific agendas? Is the narrative Jungkook saving Taehyung a reflection of true tragedy or the perfect scenario to build deeper emotional ties between artist and audience? However, if on the contrary, this is a real medical event not publicly disclosed to preserve someone's dignity or health, then we must also admit that not everything must be consumed by the public. But still, limitless silence always opens the door to manipulation. So the only way to fight the fog of information is to keep asking, keep doubting, and keep demanding transparency. Ultimately, it comes back to you as the reader. Do you truly believe this event occurred as presented by social media? Or do you see a pattern too perfect to be called coincidence? Are you willing to stake your belief on unverifiable information, or will you wait for the fuller truth to be revealed through time and deeper investigation? We live in an era where the line between fact and fiction is increasingly blurred. In a world shaped by algorithms, emotions, and image, every news piece can become a weapon. So our task is not just to read, but to filter, to question, and to analyze. Because when truth becomes unclear, only skepticism and reflection can save us from becoming part of a collective lie.